Welcome once again to Hunter's Entertainment on Twitch.tv. I am Noxweiler Burf, your game master and guide through the dark and challenging world of survival horror. Tonight, as we do every Tuesday night, we are playing Outbreak Undead. This game is not for the faint of heart, and I, as your game master, have confirmed consent with each of my players. Our lines and veils have been firmly drawn, and we have safety protocols in place to assist and protect everyone at the table tonight. We ask you for your consent as well, and we encourage you to read the content warning closely. This game offers us all an opportunity to explore dark themes and to shine a light on the human condition in the safe confines of our imagination. We're thankful to you for your time and your attention, but we also wish to be clear. This game is about horror and about exploring it within the safe confines of this place. We will protect you, but nothing here can be considered easy. It takes bravery and support to do that, and every person at this table has agreed to step forward and to be clear about where their lines are. Those lines will be firmly respected. Not every character being played here has the same objectives as all of the others. There are a wide variety of motivations in the world that exists past what we remember and know as the world around us now. Some of the characters will be working against the other players, and they are in communications with forces outside of the group that they are traveling with. There are dangers that are unseen. There are betrayals that may reveal themselves. Any of that can occur here, but all of it will occur with the understanding that at this table, we do so freely and of our own free will. There are no magic swords to be discovered in this world. There are no valiant knights or castles to hide behind. The dangers are far worse than dragons and magic. They wear the face of a world that died long ago. And now there's only an echo of a dying gasp of civilization, a haunted ghost of the world around you now. Still, in the greatest darkness, hope burns brightest. I would like to thank both JB Jara and Alex Hillman and the entire Hunters team for helping us make this campaign happen. Please sign up in the panels below for our Scry program. Within those panels, you will be able to engage with the communities that our apocalypse offers you directly. You're going to take on the role of a survivor yourself and help to divert and steer resources to where they are needed the most. These choices are yours to make. And just as the players here will be making choices that will alter the future for everyone that they encounter, you now can make choices that will also alter the future that we are imagining here together. Your choices will be the difference between life and death, and they will be linked to the settlements within the Rag and Bone universe. This universe will continue to grow. It will evolve as time passes. And the choices that you make will accumulate. And the communities will grow or wither based on how you choose to spend your time and effort. Our tireless Undead moderators are in the chat right now and are prepared to help you by answering any questions that you may have. They will support your efforts. I don't wish to waste too much time here describing it. We have so much to do. Please, if you enjoy the content here tonight, continue to make noise for us on social media and help us grow this offering. We wish to bring more survivors into the fold. Join into our Discord and connect with others who you feel might enjoy this particular brand of dark ride. That's more than enough of all of that, though. Allow me to introduce you to the players in tonight's nightmare. Michelle, welcome back. We are always glad to have you here with us. Would you mind telling people a little bit about who you are in real life, where they can find you on the internet, and a little bit about Juniper, your character?
Hello, everyone. I am Michelle Wynn Bradley, and you can find me everywhere on the internet at I am Chubby Bunny on Twitter and Instagram. Technically, also Twitch. And you can find me here every Tuesday, obviously, on Hunters. You can see me for the next 2 Wednesdays over on official Paizo's Twitch channel, playing their Pathfinder 2E beginner box. It's super fun. Season's just about to wrap up, so join us there. And on Mondays, we are now on the Pinnacle Entertainment's Twitch channel, debuting the Savage Worlds and Pathfinder mashup system that just released for Kickstarter. It's super fun. That's Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time at twitch.tv/PEGINC. That's me. But I'm playing Juniper Song, a troubled individual, a wild child of. I was born during the apocalypse, so I don't have references to anything people are talking about half the time. I think last episode there was like a full 3 minutes where my character couldn't respond to what was happening. And I have to roll is it competency or not? Sorry, composure is the word.
Yes.
Composure when things get bad, because if they do and I fail enough times, then something very bad happens and my other side comes out, which is not very good for the party. That's me.
Thank you again for being with us. We're excited to continue to explore Juniper's story. You have been a delight to roleplay with. I hope that the character survives its time on the road. It is dangerous there. Markia, welcome once again. Could you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and the character that you'll be playing tonight?
Hello, everyone. I'm Markia McCarty. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. It's just my name. If you're Facebook, Markia TV. If you are Twitch, it's Darth Markia. So, there's a common theme there. So for things that I do, obviously, Tuesday nights I'm here fighting zombies with all these wonderful people. Starting in February on Mondays, you'll be able to catch me in a Kids on Bikes campaign with Roll20. So very much looking forward to that. And if you are, you're probably someone that enjoys Hunters Entertainment. I'm the new marketing manager for that. So I'm going to take this moment to say we have a really great Kickstarter going on right now. It is Gods of Metal Ragnarok. Just had an amazing campaign with people within this room. Right now, we just completed that last Friday, and our Kickstarter is going. It fully funded in under 5 hours, and it's running until February. So go ahead and check it out. Maybe not right this second, but go ahead and check it out on Kickstarter and live your heavy metal rock fantasy. Yeah. So I'm done. So for the character that I'm playing Achira Sampson. Achira, in her past, she has been very much a lone wolf when it comes to things, sticking to the shadows, taking out people that are in her way, being very impatient with the ones around her. The way that she's been acting in the present has not been the way that she normally is. She's the knife in your back when you think that there's no one behind you. And it'd be interesting if she ends up reverting to that in any way, shape, or form. But right now, she's on the road with Juniper and also with Gravedigger as they decide what they are going to do and if they will be able to make it back to 10-4 safely. We shall see.
We certainly are interested to see how that may resolve itself. Thank you again for being with us, Kia. Alex, welcome back. We have Alex Ward with us tonight, and you are portraying a very interesting character we introduced last week. We are endlessly appreciative of your time. Thank you for being with us again. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you can be found on the internet, and a little bit about Digger?
Hi, my name is Alex Ward. I'm very happy to be back. I am an actor and a streamer. I specialize in playing monsters and creatures for film and television, and I also stream on Twitch during this time of the world. You can find me on what is it? Instagram. There it is. Instagram and Twitter at under Alexander Ward, and or on Twitter at AlexWard777. Yeah, I am also Jasper on LA by Night, and I am on another RPG show that is currently running right now every Friday, which is called Eclipse, which is a sci-fi RPG with myself and Josephine McAdam and a bunch of other lovely people. And that is on twitch.tv/JCVIM. My character, Digger, is a sort of person who prefers to be on their own, but has joined up with this group for a little while to get some answers to some questions that were raised by them upon their meeting of these new Romeros that have shown up, which are very disconcerting to me.
There is much to be explored in the rumors that these strange outsiders have brought to you. Digger exists outside of any sort of community and operates very loosely with the Ender's Line. I'm glad that you're with us. This is a crucial piece of the puzzle that I feel needs to be told. Last but not least, returning to us, we have Luis Carrazzo. Luis, thank you for being with us again. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself in the real world, where people can find you, and who you'll be playing tonight?
Yeah, sure. My name is Luis Carrazzo. You can find me on the social medias, just with my name, Luis Carrazzo. Put that together, and I'll pop up. In the real world, I'm nothing like who I play in this world. I'd like to believe. I'm an actor. Sometimes I'm on TV. Sometimes I'm in some movies and commercials. I've got something coming out in the near future that I'll be able to share once it's out, more of. And I'm also got a couple of streams around the corner in the winter into the spring. So I'll keep sharing when I have something upcoming with you guys on social media. Lampwick. Uh, Whew, it's so funny because some of the stuff that other people are saying are definitely applied to Lampwick. There is who you were before the fall and who you are now and what you're going to do about the situations as they continue to change. Lampwick was a people person, but a very particular kind of people person. I'd say maybe a somewhat predatory people person in that he saw some people as a means to an end, not completely devoid of compassion and empathy because he did have that towards certain other people, but he was absolutely willing to clock somebody and read them for what they were lacking, and then assume a kind of role to provide them whatever it was that whatever that vacancy was in order to get something from them. Some of that persisted, a lot of that persisted in this post-apocalyptic world, but I don't know. I think that uh, things are things are moving in different directions potentially. So I'm excited to see what happens with that.
We're very glad that you're with us, Luis. As with many of these characters, survival has changed everyone, and Lampwick has certainly walked a very long road. And in the time before, I believe the word that you were looking for, or the words that you were looking for, were con artist.
I mean,
But those
maybe somebody else
skills,
would say that.
those skills tend to translate in a post-apocalyptic world into something very valuable and useful. People are a resource, and people need leadership. They need to trust the individuals that they are around. We are social creatures by nature. So there are some very interesting interactions that I'm sure will be developed both in Lampwick's past and in his future, should he survive. We have so much to do tonight. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. The world ended on May 29th, 1995. The sky fell and the dead would not die. Civilization collapsed quickly, and the sickness spread like lightning to even the most remote parts of the world. They called it many things, but it started out simply as another round of the summer flu. It became something far, far worse. H195, commonly called Legacy or the Widow's Kiss, seemed to become even more infectious once it festered within those that passed away. At first, it seemed as if no one was immune to the airborne strain, but eventually it appeared that 0.01% of the population had a natural immunity. However, even those lucky souls couldn't withstand a concentrated introduction of the virus. Perhaps through a bite, or a deep scratch, or blood-on-blood contact. As the virus racked those who were infected, they were driven mad, into a frenzy, a fury, lashing out at loved ones as their mind slipped away, and eventually the virus took them. But that death was not permanent. The body continued on. The biological functions of it still not fully explored. But the dead do rise. They do not lie in slumber. There is no resting in peace. The end of days were like wildfire, and throughout the world, people sought refuge and security where there was none to be had. Entire cities burned away, but miraculously, some still survived. And for the next 25 years, life has struggled forward, limping like a wounded animal towards a destination that none of us know. The world is a very fractured place. People live in their lives entirely alone, fearing not only the dead, but the living. Some, however, have been brave enough to seek to make civilization anew. One such group, known as the Ender's Line, uses old railway tracks to connect the small and scattered outposts and settlements that are tossed across the Midwestern United States and beyond. Rag and Bone, they're known. They travel as merchants, the connective tissue in a civilization that is hanging on for dear life. Every breath threatening to be its last. They are a lifeline in a world that now belongs to the dead. You're awoken with a bump, the rumble of an old rickety motor, the smell of grain alcohol, old dried meat, herbs that are hanging from twine hang above your head, drying slowly there. They fill the air with a fragrant and pungent, earthy texture. It tends to cover up the other smells. Flop sweat. The smell of humans in too small of a space for too long. Your side, Lampwick, immediately tenses for a moment, and you feel a lightning strike of pain work its way across your side, up your neck, and to your jaw, which clenches heavily. Your hand inadvertently thrusts out to the small bedside table in the back of the RV, and you grab onto the small glass container containing a few of those strange blue horse pills that have been left behind for you, each of them cut into thirds. You've tried to pace yourself. The dwindling supply that was left to you is disappearing rather quickly. It's been weeks. Weeks since your nightmare ended. Your time in the mine shaft in that safe house that was buried deep beneath Grey Ridge. A fading memory now. But some things never fade away. You recall the stench of the rotting body of the doctor, and you still wake in the middle of the night in sweats at the mental image of little Juniper twisting her neck with a loud, popping crack. You remember the weakness. As the supplies ran out, the air became horrid, nearly unbreathable. Your only lifeline, a CB radio, one that was broken, but through determination and a week's worth of work, you brought it back to life. And that voice, that tether from beyond, when that dynamite had blown and all of you had been trapped down here, you thought that this might be the end. There was no talking your way out of this situation. There's no escape. No easy way out. Over the past few weeks, you have had fresh air when you were able to stand. And you watched as the remains of the Grey Ridge community were picked clean. All of the medication that remained that the Citadel did not take, fiercely guarded. And if it wasn't for 10-4 and the good people of the Ender's Line, you would have received none of those antibiotics or painkillers. Ironically, perhaps, those medications saved your life. Everyone who has attended to you is in agreement. Any further damage or wounding or any further infection from that stab wound into your side, it would have been the end of you. But because of their work, the stitches and the medical care, you have survived. Also, in that time, you have managed to insinuate yourself quite nicely into the small caravan that was protecting those that were remaining behind to both salvage and begin the very slow process of rebuilding the Grey Ridge community. Only 5 souls from that original community survived everything that occurred once you and the rest of Rag and Bone arrived. 5 out of that flourishing community, able to offer medical aid to many others. You're lying in this bed as it rumbles, moving forward. You know that 10-4 had dropped the orders. It was no longer safe. There were Romeros, lurkers, the dead. And they kept appearing. And while they were quickly cleared out, the walls were still unfinished. And staying in one place with your back to a mountain left very little avenue for escape should things go wrong again. Also, the Citadel has been very clear. They've taken half of those meds. And from the rumors that you've heard, not all is peaceful between those groups. A rift may have formed between the surviving communities within this region. There is trouble here. And so 10-4 has made the order, and the caravan, a few members of the Ender's Line, and the rest of the scattered group have gathered together and have begun traveling to a secret location that you have not been informed of. All you know is that it is secure and it will suffice for a camp for a short period of time before everyone splits apart and makes their way back to their respective communities. With you within this RV, as you struggle to straighten your vision, you see Aria Kantos. In the weeks since she emerged from the mine shaft, perhaps thanks to the time locked there in the mine shaft behind that cage, she seems to be clean. Probably for the first time in a very long time. She's not using anything. She has avoided you, kept her distance. At first you were uncertain as to why, but now you realize because you are using painkillers, she has separated herself from you to avoid the temptation of what you have on you. She's spent her time focused on the two small children, Kit and Crash, 7-year-old redheaded twins that Juniper saved from the Grey Ridge community. They wouldn't have made it without her aid. And where much of the blame can be placed upon June, these two children certainly would not be alive had it not been for her efforts. Driving this vehicle is a scraggly man known as Woodchuck. Also traveling amongst you by their own insistence are two individuals from the Grey Ridge community, Sanderson and Polly. They have claimed that because of the twins, they would not be separated, as the twins were originally part of their community. They are their responsibility. However, they did not wish to separate your group's claim from them. So they have agreed to share custody of these two and to protect them for as long as needed. Sanderson, you know, is quite angry with Juniper. From the rumors and the bits of gossip that you've gathered, you know that Sanderson was the lover of Dr. Maria Espinosa, who is now dead. Your side is racked with pain, Lampwick. You are sitting up now, rumbling down a road. There's a loud putter of this old engine, and the smell of biodiesel fills the air. Herbs and other strange dried meat smells waft across in a sickening bouquet of your life. What do you do?
Well, I'm going to reach for the pills, and I want to count how many I have left, how many thirds I have left.
You have 3 entire pills or 9 doses that you can continue to take, assuming that you take the full dose that has been prescribed.
I'm going to, for now, hold off on taking the pill. I'm recalling as I put together what Arya has done, and I'm going to try to wean myself off of these pills. Not that I'm addicted to them, but I can't rely on them to manage my pain. I'm going to have to learn one way or another. So for now, I'm going to hold on to those 9 pieces that I have and try to deal with it. I'm going to look around and just kind of take stock of everyone and their sort of mood.
Very well. As you look about, Arya is antsy. She seems uncomfortable. She's playing with the 2 children. They have a checkerboard that Juniper has left with them. It's laid out on the small kitchenette table that has been folded open deeper into the RV towards the driver's seat. Polly is sitting with her feet kicked up onto the dashboard in the passenger side, while Woodchuck, a scraggly older man with a gray beard and a trucker hat, drives this vehicle. He's one of the Ender's line. He is not aligned with Grey Ridge directly. And then you see Sanderson sitting there, back up against a window, whistling and whittling with a large Bowie knife. There is a stick that he has in front of him, and he's just carving away at it.
What other games did we bring? I remember in the bunker we had a number of games that we used to pass the time to keep from losing our sanity completely. Aside from the checkers, was there anything else that made its way on the RV? Cards?
Yeah, there are some cards and a few of the other things. You and your group did get the opportunity to pick through some of the materials that were pulled from the mine shaft. So if you have any survival points that you wish to spend for specific items, I will give those to you. Now, there are some restrictions. I cannot allow you to choose medicine as one of those items. That medicine has already been expended. However, if there's a specific weapon or something like that, given your very high morale with the individuals of the Ender's line, despite everything that has happened, you will be able to manipulate your way into a number of items should you choose to use them. But before you do that, Lampwick, I would like very much for you to make for me a spot listen check.
Will do.
You have 1 black die of difficulty added to that roll due to your recovering wound. The pain distracts you, and it will continue to distract you until you are fully healed. And as I've warned you, any further wounding or exertion beyond what you are currently undertaking could have very serious repercussions.
Yes, indeed. That's 1 degree of failure.
All right. Do you wish to have that 1 degree of failure ride? Because I must remind you as well, we did not make our goal. Each session that we play, there is the opportunity for our audience to assist you. If we retrieve 100 follows or 15 subscriptions in a single week, I can offer you an additional competency point. However, as we did not make that goal, none of the players here tonight will be utilizing that benefit.
Yep. I'm gonna ride this one out. I mean, you know, I'm deciding to not take the painkillers, so that kind of keeps my head a little focused on that sharp pain that I just felt. So I'll keep that as 1 degree of failure.
Well, easily enough, then we know that all we have to do is pretend like you never made that roll. You notice nothing.
Yeah. I would like to take stock of what I would have brought with me from the group, which is a pistol with ammunition and another spear.
These are items that you have already possessed. Is there anything that you wish to add to your inventory?
A deck of cards, which again I probably took with me from the survival points that we spent in the bunker. Binoculars.
Okay. If you would like binoculars, I will take 25 survival points from you.
Got it.
And you will have a set of binoculars.
And that'll do for now.
Available items that were unique to the group as they were available to you at the time: grain alcohol, And there was a healthy amount of ammunition available. Would you like either of those items?
I would like, yeah, I'll take a little bit of both, actually.
Reduce your survival points by 20, and you will take a box of ammunition for your pistol, and you will
Great.
also take with you the rest.
Great. Adding that here.
All right.
And if I have a moment, I'd like to try to address somebody. If there's anything left for me to be able to choose to do.
Yes. You are free to move about the cabin of the RV as you see fit. I will remind you that you are moving. So if you do so, I simply need you to make a balance check with a single black die of difficulty attached to it.
Great. I'm going to try to get closer to Sanderson. Okay. And balance. Here we go. Oof.
My friend, that is 4 degrees of failure. Do you wish to write out 4 degrees of failure?
Well, I don't have. I saw the spear. I saw where the gun is. I don't have anything on me that's going to be that dangerous. I'm thinking of all the ways that I can hurt myself. I'm going to spend 2 competency points because I don't want to hit my head and knock myself out.
If that is your choice, you can easily spend 2 competency, or you can accept a shared failure. What I will propose to you before you spend those 2 competency is that you will fall and you will make a lot of noise and will not make your destination. However, it will not harm you beyond that.
All right, I will take that.
So you drop like a sack of potatoes as soon as you stand up, and you realize how weak you still are. Your hand flies out and you grab onto the curtains of a window that are nearby, ripping them off of the rings that they're attached to. There's a loud bang as you hit the floor, and everyone turns. And immediately you can see that because of the way that the RV seat is, both Sanderson, who has a hand on his gun, and Polly, who has a shotgun in her lap, has spinned around and is pointing back towards the other end of the RV at this point. Arya has taken the 2 children and holds them down across the table.
I just shoot my hands up and I say, "It's okay. Just lost my balance for a moment. Got lightheaded. Everything's okay. Don't mind me." As I start to lift myself back up.
Arya looks to you nervously. I'm glad to see you're awake. It's been a couple of hours. We were talking about maybe checking in on you for sure, because you'd never know, like
I know.
you might have gone. We can't have you turn. Yeah, kind of. She motions with her head towards the kids.
Right. No. Of course, if you notice anything going awry, I expect you all to take care of it as you should. But I'm okay. And I'm gonna pull out the deck of cards.
You better watch yourself back there, Slick. You're gonna hurt yourself.
I've done that enough times. I hope that never happens again. You're right. I will watch myself.
Sanderson picks up the stick that he was working on and continues to kind of whittle at it. Polly kind of sniffs and gives you a look and then spins back, kicking her feet back up onto the dashboard. Woodchuck from the driver's seat. Everything all right back there?
Everything's all right.
Good. All good. We got our marching orders here, and I'll tell you, 10-4 is a good old buddy. Gonna tell us exactly what's going on. I don't fear too much about where we're gonna end up. I know a couple of places around here that he knows of that's gonna be a lot better than sitting around that graveyard. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Sanderson and Polly get real stony cold when Woodchuck says graveyard like that.
Yep. Hey, Woodchuck, a little sensitivity, please. I know it's the end of days and all, but we can still retain as much humanity as we possibly can, right?
Ah, fuck. It's just like my mama said. I need to keep my damn mouth shut.
Mm. Well, I need that reminder every now and then, too.
You're all right. He just keeps driving down the road, and you can see now from the windows that you're in deep woodland. You're not really sure where on the map you are, and you certainly have been in and out of consciousness. The kids look up at you. They smile kind of weakly, and they start moving checkers back and forth.
And just give them a nod, a little wave. Hey, guys, how you doing?
We're okay.
Good.
You're not dead yet?
Not dead yet. Neither are you.
Well, Juniper told us that if you die, we're supposed to stab you in the head.
Good. I'm glad she said that.
We'll
I'll have
do
words
it.
with her when I see her again. But
Only-
yeah.
If you die, though, you're gonna get stabbed.
Okay, that sounds good. I'm not gonna die, neither are you, okay? So no one's getting stabbed.
All right. You shouldn't lie to them, you know.
Well, gotta keep people's spirits up. Is this Sanderson talking to me?
Yeah, Sanderson is kind of just like giving you the side eye and whittling away at the stick.
I'm gonna sit right next to him, and I'm gonna kind of try to sort of under my breath say, so the kids don't hear. Did you ever? You don't have kids then, do you? Sometimes you gotta stretch the truth a little bit to make sure that they stay calm.
Slick, you don't exactly strike me as the fatherly type.
Well, there's a lot that you don't know about me. Also, I'm a hell of a poker player, and you seem to be broody and maybe need a little lightening up. How about we play a couple hands?
Damn it, boy, you do not want to open up that can of worms.
Oh, can of worms. That sounds delicious.
You
Let's
got
open it up.
trade? Yeah, we'll play. You
You
more
want to
than
play
happy.
like that? Oh,
I
you want to make this
I
a real
don't
thing.
I don't play poker if we're not gambling.
What currency you want to gamble with?
What do you have?
Well, pull out the little box of ammo that I have. Got a little bit of this. Rattle it. I got some of these. I point at the pills, but I'm not trying to part ways with those right now. But I also got a lot of this.
Yeah, that's not worth shit to me. I'll take the pills and the ammo. You want to play, we'll play for real.
Okay, let's play for real then.
All right. He saddles up, and like you take this other folding table that pulls out of the RV. It folds upward, and so there's a space between the two of you, and the two of you start to deal cards. And I want you, while this game is going on, to make me another spot listen check with 1 black die of difficulty.
Will do.
And then I'd also like, if you're going to bluff any of your hands, to make a persuade with
Oh, I am definitely bluffing my hands.
with no black die of difficulty. So you do not notice again, Lampwick. You are oblivious to anything that might be happening around you. Do you wish to change that with your competency points?
Not just yet.
Because you just got into a poker battle with an old military guy that looks like perhaps he knows what he's doing, because he picks up the cards and you watch. He saddles himself into the seat like a pro.
I'll roll this, and then I'll see if there's something else I want to follow that up with.
The first thing I want you to do, you have managed to set yourself up very nicely. You know that he's buying into your look. Tell me a little bit about how this works. Are you How are you playing into this?
Oh, I'm definitely playing. So, I was gonna detect motives, but he seems like such an easy read. You know, there's some people that are just so transparent that I can tell an alpha male when I see one, for sure. So I'm gonna let him feel like he's in control, and I'm gonna approach this as though I've never really played poker before, and I'm just trying to pass the time and trying to, just hang out in the RV.
He now
So,
believes firmly that you're an easy mark.
mhm,
And then what I would like for you to do next is to make a detect motives roll with no degrees of difficulty added to it.
will do. I'll add two competency. I'll use 2 points
So
for
you're
that,
going to turn that into 1 degree of success.
which automatically becomes 4.
He is good. You know he's good.
Okay.
And you are not sure how good he is, but that's how these games go. You're going to have to either lose or win a couple of set hands and figure it out. And the two of you start playing cards. They get passed back and forth. How far are you willing to go with your supplies?
I I want to go as far as I can so that this stays fun and light. I don't want to go further than I think remains, you know, I don't want to make him mad.
So the point of the game, Lampwick, is not to win. It's
Exactly.
to endear yourself to Sanderson.
Yes. And I
I
want this game
understand.
to be long. So I'm not going to go all in. I want this time that I've now have with him. I want it to last.
You're baiting him and you're dragging your hand out, and you can tell that sometimes he becomes impatient, and he tries to push you into some traps, tries to get you to go further than perhaps you should, and you often just fold. So a number of hands go this way, and uh, he's gotten 2 halves. Oh, I'm sorry. He's gotten 2/3 of your one of your pills and 6 bullets overall over the course of this. Now that's only because you've made choices to make the game long and not just clean him out or attack when you could or make this game end quickly, because otherwise the game could have ended quickly and you might have been ahead. But he is a very good player and he knows exactly what he's doing. And hours pass by and he's quiet. He doesn't talk a lot until you start to wheedle information out of him. And as night falls and everyone continues on, there's a simple meal that's passed around of dried meat and some salvaged vegetables that were fresh, that were gathered before everyone left from the burnt gardens of Grey Ridge. Um, Polly pulls out a bag of cocoa beans and starts to make effectively like a coffee hot chocolate mix that is mashed coffee beans and hot chocolate. And she puts it in front of Sanderson and takes a cup for herself. And Sanderson says, "Are you interested in that?"
Uh, yeah. What can I smell it?
Yeah, you could smell it, but you can't drink it
I'm
unless you
not
win
gonna.
it.
I hear you. I just want to have a little, teaser. I mean,
It is a beautiful smell,
wow.
Lampwick. And you firmly inhaled the odors of this. They're not fresh beans. You don't even know what those smell like anymore. But it is a mixture that reminds you of what that was once like. And the hot water and the cocoa in there, it doesn't smell sweet, but it has that punch of chocolate. And he sets it down in front of him. One last hand. How about that, Slick?
All right, let's do
All
it.
right. Yeah, let's do it. So the two of you pass your cards back and forth. What are you willing to bet? Because he's expecting a pretty good pot for that cup of hot chocolate coffee.
Well, he's got 6. He's got 2 pieces of the pills, and he's got 6 bullets, right?
Yes.
I will bet 2 bullets and another piece of the pills. See if that satisfies him.
Okay, he'll take that.
All right.
So here's how it's going to work. You're going to roll for me your sense motive one last time. I'm going to give you a single black die of difficulty, given the amount of time that you've been sitting up. And
Yes.
that roll is going to determine whether or not you win this hand.
Whew.
So go ahead and make your shot.
All right. Boom.
That is 4 degrees of success, Lampwick.
And that turns into 5 because of my Weedle.
Let's talk about how spectacular this is. With 5 degrees of success, you have played him. But I guess it's up to you to help me determine how this comes to fruition.
I would love to. So, here's what I would like to do. I'd like to kind of con him a little into betting a couple of the pills that some of the stuff that he's already won. I'm gonna do one of those things where I keep kind of just raising it a little, and he's gonna kind of call and meet it. Maybe maybe he raises it because he thinks I'm a sucker. But I'm gonna let him know when I show him the like straight flush that I have. I'm gonna do it in a way that lets him know that I kind of played him. But my intention is this. My intention is to impress him. My intention isn't to dig in and insult him. My intention is to impress him.
Very good. And with that many successes, I'm going to allow that to happen as you've described it. He smiles, and then he starts to laugh. Well, holy shit, Slick. I underestimated you. That doesn't happen very often. Damn it, I like you too much to have to do what we got to do next, but fuck it. Polly, pull the trigger. And immediately the shotgun goes off. Woodchuck's head sprays across the windshield, and the entire RV jackknifes as she grabs onto the wheel, throwing the body out of the way and hitting the brake.
Whoa.
I need you to make a balance check with 2 black dice of difficulty.
Man, oh man. Oh, Lord. Damn it. Shit.
3 degrees of failure. Do you have any competency that you wish to spend?
I will spend. Yes, I will spend. Let me see. 4 degrees of failure. You know what? I'm going to spend 1, and trusting that I established a little bit of a rapport with this guy, I'm gonna kind of use him to brace myself a little bit.
I will keep you from falling and harming yourself, because this is a little more than just falling out of bed. This could break your stitches, which are still yet not fully healed. You reach out your arm, and Sanderson does catch you. Sanderson's holding on to you, smiling broadly as the RV comes to a stop. There, sweetheart, have a seat. We got plenty to do. The kids are screaming and crying, and Aria is in the back, mumbling to herself, rocking back and forth. Not again. I can't do this anymore.
Wait. Relax. Hey, look, I know I was out of it for a little while, but I'm sure you had your reasons, and that you don't mean the kids or any of the rest of us harm. Right, Sanderson?
You're half right. Polly, take us on that detour that we talked about. I need you to sit down. We've got a lot of talking to do.
I'd love to hear what you have to say. And if there's another mug, an empty mug, I'm going to grab it. And the hot cocoa that I just won from him, I'm going to pour half of it into another mug and hand it to him.
No. That hot chocolate has spilled across the floor and is now soaking into the disgusting, dirty floor
Wow.
beneath you.
Then when I realize that it's empty, then I just put that clean mug back and sit right down and enjoy the smell of hot chocolate since I'm not going to be able to taste it.
You can smell it, but you cannot have it. Sanderson grabs the CB radio, and Polly hands him the shotgun, and he has that shotgun leveled at you as he picks up the CB radio. Calling all channels, this is Sanderson. We're having a little bit of an engine issue. This old RV is crapping out on us. I don't know what to fucking do, but I'm going to take a look at it. Polly and I are going to get us back on track. Woodchuck is going to sleep it off for a little while, and we're going to catch up with you at that rendezvous real fast. Over and out. He then grabs onto the CB radio's cord and pulls it out from the deck of the dashboard, throwing it across the RV. And you sit there with a shotgun leveled at you. You're a damn fine card player, boy.
Why, thank you.
Elsewhere, deep in the woods, moving carefully, Achira, Juniper, and the strange outsider that you have brought with you now, from the outskirts of the Iron Cage, the city once known as Pittsburgh. Digger, would you please describe yourself?
Yeah, I'm not particularly tall or big or anything like that. I really don't stand out in any way physically. I wear a long coat and I have clothes that are meant more for freedom of movement than style. Generally dark colors meant for blending in with less lit places. And he's got a very soft face, but there's not a lot of emotion displayed on it. It's very passive almost all the time.
You've been keeping your ear all around you open to the movements of nature. This is home to you. You're comfortable out here in the wild. There is a old railway track underneath your feet and gravel that has obscured most of it. The rust has eaten away a great deal of what was once the metal that formed this track, and there are dead plants everywhere. There are places where it's generally obscured. Your well-worn shoes, which have been patched 1,000 times over, they don't match each other. You've found different pieces of salvage that you've made your own soles with, and one end of them is like a heavy board, you know, but it allows you to move very carefully, and you've manufactured what you have. You don't own anything that hasn't lived 1,000 lives before. And you're wandering down this rail track, and you're tuned into everything around you. But invariably, what separates this situation from your normal day-to-day is the two women that are traveling with you. Their sounds, their breathing, their presence. It always, like nails on a chalkboard almost, it always draws you out from your focus. And even though the one known as Achira is very good, she has this ability to slip into the shadow and disappear and to move without making noise that impresses you. The other talks a lot and breaks those moments of silence with abandon. Seems oftentimes to be searching for something else. There's a wildness, but there's also a curiosity to them. Juniper, would you describe yourself and where you are on this rail track as you walk forward with Digger?
I think I'm following. We're just going back to the. I think we're going back to the farm. So I feel like I know my way back by myself. I don't really need someone to lead me. But on the way, I'm just looking for anything that could be eaten, like nuts or flowers or just food. I'm always kind of looking for food. But that means that when they're all walking in a straight path, I'm walking like sort of like this around the perimeter.
Why don't you make for me a survival check? And there are no dice of difficulty or anything added to that. You can make a straight roll.
Okay. That is so many failures. Good lord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 failures.
I think it's fair to say, and you can help me with this, Juniper. I think it's fair to say that it has been days since you found anything edible. You've been relying on the slimming resources that were given to you by 10-4. Does that sound fair to you?
That makes sense. Or actually, I know Digger gave us some stuff before he left his place, or we talked about it briefly. Maybe I was given something and I lost it, and I just didn't tell anybody, and I'm trying to make up for that.
All right. Maybe you lost a few dead pigeons that were dried out, the meat of which had been stripped and was ready to eat. And everyone is traveling very light. However, Juniper, are you or is Achira carrying the radio? Because remember, it is quite cumbersome.
I feel like Achira would be carrying it just because she knew how to use it the first time around.
All right. Achira, do you agree?
Yeah.
Definitely, Achira's got it.
Okay. So you're just on the tracks. We've got Digger sort of ahead, moving forward. Digger seems to be a natural scout, someone who really understands the terrain and how to move about these areas. No one really talked about or decided what specific roles individuals were going to take, but you're free to do that now if you choose. Digger just fell into this sort of solitary walk along this rail track. Achira, would you describe yourself and how you're interacting with the other two?
Yeah, I believe that Achira would, gauging the distance that they naturally fall from each other, would then try to be in a triangular formation, but keeping a type of formation with them. Achira would be very. She would naturally slide into shadows more than she would breaking trail for anybody else or trying to make herself visible, even with this luggage.
I think that you're able to, if you're not, are you saying that you're not on the rails themselves and you're just a little off the distance and trying to stay out of sight for the most part as everyone travels forward?
Yeah.
I think you're able to do that fairly easily. And I think that your skills and your specialties are much more suited to this sort of travel than it is for when you were below ground or in the middle of a combat at the Gray Ridge camp. You really do find your flow and you're able to step away and keep a distance as Juniper and Digger sort of continue moving their way along the tracks back the way you came. Now, for the three of you, I have to ask you, you have limited battery power for this CB radio. You had made the decision to return back to camp. You would use that radio once. You have an undisclosed number of uses of that radio still. Do you use it during the first day or so of travel on your way back, or do you wait until, because you know that you're not within range of where 10-4 was, so you would have to wait at least a day's travel before you used it. But once you reach that point, do you wish to risk using that radio again?
Achira would use it because, I mean, Achira would hope to get at least 2 more uses out of it. One for kind of a triangulation type of a deal, kind of like what they did with Digger. After they used it, they realized that they had gone the wrong direction. Like, I feel like that somehow added to that role when we figured out that we'd gone too far. So would I would think that we would do that again.
All right. Tell me a little bit about how you set up. Like, obviously you're going to stop. You're going to need to take time to rest. How do the three of you determine you're going to do this while on the road?
I think because I should be good at ranged attacks, I would find a space up high or climb in a tree to watch the area while they set up the radio. I also don't do technology. I don't really know how anything works. So yeah, if we had stopped somewhere like a clearing, someplace that didn't have a lot of coverage for Ramirez to pop out, that'd be good. And I would be on the edge of that clearing or on a tree near them.
Alex, do you have any thoughts on how you and the others might set up a camp and what sort of area you might be looking for when you're about to take your rest for the... Another question, do you stay and rest during the day and travel at night so that you have the cover of darkness, or do you travel during the day and sleep at night?
What is your preferred method of travel? I'm following you all, so I thought I'd be courteous.
I prefer at night, personally. I know what Romeros tend to do. It's more... There's more variables when you deal with people.
Yeah. That's fair. All right, so nighttime travel. Let's find somewhere maybe up a little higher. It has a little less tree density to set that up if you're looking to communicate.
Someplace higher. Well, you're basically speaking my love language.
Do I see any hills or breaks in the forest anywhere up a little higher up? Or
Yeah, make a spot listen check for me. And then both you and Juniper can make survival checks.
Okay.
Could I roll navigation instead?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh! Nope. That's 4 degrees of failure.
Yeah, you're further out than you normally are.
Yeah.
And your familiarity with the space is now lacking. And you don't immediately spot anything. I think with 4 degrees of failure, I'm going to say that your anxiety being surrounded by these people has thrown you off. Mm-hmm. And every time you step away from them, you start to become concerned that perhaps you've done something wrong, or that you're not communicating correctly, or doing your part to try to travel with them in the appropriate way. So I'm going to say that you spend a lot of time second guessing yourself.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Juniper, you have 3 degrees of failure on your navigation.
Yeah.
So is there something that you wish to do, Achira, to try to find a decent space for your camp?
I was wondering if I may be able to use my recon gear.
Yes. Yeah, your recon gear can be used here. It's still 2 degrees of failure. So
wow.
Unless anybody wishes to mitigate anything with competency points, I'm going to say that the best that you can find is a small clearing in the forest off of this very dense patch of forestry that you've been traveling through. And you know you're making your way back to the Gray Ridge community. So you think that you're on track. You don't think you're on the wrong rail or anything like that. All of the markers seem to be correct. However, this opening just feels exposed. It feels like you don't have enough cover to adequately protect yourselves. And it feels like it would be fairly visible from a distance. There's enough of a clearness to these trees that you think that somebody from the distance could probably see all of you before you would be able to see them.
That makes me uncomfortable. I don't know what I was thinking about the clearing. I don't travel with people. So I'm going to leave this up to your judgment.
I used to not travel with others much either, but I think, well, things change.
They do.
Juniper, how do you feel about this? Should we just wait?
I mean, I feel like if we're already going in the right direction and we feel good about that, then and we can't find a good spot to stop, should we stop at all? Or can we not just like go climb up in a tree and do this radio stuff? I don't really know how it works. Like, is it better if it's higher? No.
I don't think we can set it up in a tree. Can we?
I mean, at Juniper, if you want to hold on to the luggage for a while, you'll get a good view of its heft anytime you want.
I can carry it if you want. I just thought you wanted to have it in case you needed it. But I can carry it. It's fine.
Make a composure check for me, Juniper.
Cool. We are looking at 3 degrees of failure, which is not great.
Is there anything you wish to do to mitigate those 3 degrees of failure?
You know what? I'll use 2 competency points to make it down to 1.
Okay. I will take either those 2 competency, or I will offer you this, Juniper. You will speak harshly for 1 sentence to Achira as Olive.
Okay, I do that one.
Olive gets 1 single sentence directed at Achira that is meant to pierce her. Go for it.
You wouldn't need that radio if you knew how to get around by yourself. And you didn't need all these fucking people helping you all the time. Carry it yourself, idiot. Just walk off.
Yeah, make a sense motive check, please, Digger.
Sure. That is somewhere.
Obviously, that was strange, but again, you're not used to people anymore.
Yeah.
And this is certainly...
One degree of success.
Okay. That was beyond normal interactions, and you begin to sense that there's something not right with Juniper.
Is that something I should know about her?
Yeah. You know what? After that, I think there is. Do you know how you feel differently when you're going about in the daylight and then when you're going about at night? The night has a different feeling. You move a different way than you do during the day.
Yeah.
Juniper is that, but all the time within herself. There's a night and day in there. Not saying that one is bad and the other's good or whatever, but they're both very different. And that was not the Juniper that you've known up to this point.
I see. I guess I understand.
The other way to say it is, do you remember Batman?
Yes, I remember Batman.
Another name for it is Harvey Dent.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I get you.
Never explain that to her. And Ichiro walks forward, lugging the luggage out of the clearing.
So, deciding not to use this clearing for your camp, do you determine that you're going to keep moving through the night?
Mm-hmm.
Do you use the radio before you do so, setting it up, or do you continue on hoping to find a place to be able to use it correctly?
I would continue on, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Each of you becomes somewhat tired. If you wish to spend any competency points, I will allow you to forego the effects of the very long night of marching.
How many?
One competency apiece would be enough.
Is the location that we're in very
Hazardous?
hard to
No.
travel?
That's the same forest as before.
I'm good to spend it.
I'll spend one.
Yeah.
I will not spend one.
Very well. Juniper, you begin lagging behind a little. However, you do manage to keep up. You will be facing some increased difficulties on rolls that you make. Achira, Digger, both of you dig deep into your willpower and steel yourself against the night as you press forward all the way to morning. The light begins to break, and hours past when you would have camped previously. You see the red streaks across the sky as it lightens, and you hear birds chirping in the distance. It is cold. There's a dew across everything, a wetness. Morning air is crisp, and it, for a moment, has a dreamlike quality that seems to vibrate around you. Your eyes are slowly adjusting to the light. Juniper is walking behind you, talking to herself. I can't believe she talked to you like that.
It's fine. I think we're all just tired. It worked out fine in the end. Nothing came of it.
I don't like her.
You don't really like anybody, so that's fine.
If it was up to her, she would just... Never mind. At the end of your march here, do you wish to move off of the path? There are a series of small hills to your right. It might be adequate for the radio.
I think now would be a good time to camp.
Then
And
let's
maybe
give this a go.
use that radio of yours.
As you're marching up the hill, breaking away from this rail line, you see additional markers that have been left by the Enders. Sticks of painted wood. They are red, as you are currently marching along the red line. The red line leads directly into the heart of what is known now as the Pit, or the Iron Cage, formerly known as Pittsburgh. On these slabs of wood that have been painted, there are usually indicators and symbols. You know that you're now about halfway to the location where you will divert and make your way back to where the rest of the Enders are currently located at Grey Ridge. Marching to the very top of this hill, you find rest. You eat a small amount of food, and you realize that your water is running very dangerously short. You do not have enough to make the trip. You're going to have to either source more, or you're going to have to come up with another solution. Either way, you cannot march a full day without being struck with the effects of dehydration. So you know now when you wake after your rest, you're going to have that problem to solve.
Yeah.
Who sets up and works the radio?
That's not my thing.
I'll set it up to work it since Since, of course, Juniper seemed to have a slight distaste for it earlier.
You open the case and you connect the wires to the battery, and immediately there is a static popping, and you hear the familiar sound of 10-4's voice rattle across the channel as you switch it to channel 9.
Calling all enders, calling all enders. We're on the move, we're on the move.
10-4, this is... Wait, did we have code names? Do you know who this is? Do I have to say my name over this radio? 10-4, out.
Is this Achira?
Oh, well then I guess it's okay then. Yes, this is.
Fantastic, fantastic. Look, did you find Digger?
I'm
Yes.
here.
And Achira hands the little walkie over to Digger.
I am with them, 10-4.
Perfect, perfect. Look, I gotta be brief about this. We're en route. We couldn't stick around. Some shit got hairy at the camp. Too many Romeros building up. We had to get a move on. However, just follow the yellow brick. You'll eventually come to Safe House 42. It may be a day and a half on foot. 30 miles by the way of the Echoes. Just follow the yellow brick. Get to 42. You'll have the answers you need on where to rendezvous.
Digger, your experience tells you exactly where that rail line is. You've used it to communicate with the Enders before. It is a patch of rail track that has been inset with painted cinder blocks. It leads east.
Okay.
You've never gone very far down it, but you know that it leads away from Pittsburgh.
Okay. Does it require us to double back?
There will be some doubling back.
Copy that, 10-4. I know the line. We'll head that way. Out.
As the radio crackles, Achira, small sparks shoot off of the wire as you disconnect it. Everything seems fine, but again, you're reminded of the fragility of this item. This makeshift radio that has been built into this case with these homemade batteries. All of these wires exposed. It's such a fragile thing. And as the group pulls themselves close in the morning light, as that dew-covered ground stretches out before you and the trees waver in the breeze, the cold, crisp air bites your skin. Somewhere in the distance, we'll take a short break and be right back in 5 minutes. We ask that you go nowhere. We have so much of this tale left to tell. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Outbreak Undead, Rag and Bone on twitch.tv Hunters Entertainment. We're so thankful for your time here with us, and we're going to continue on with our tale. If you have any questions or if you wish to engage directly in the happenings of the communities of the Rag and Bone universe, please enroll now in the Scribe program down in our panels below. You are able to directly affect some of the events that are happening here tonight. Currently, upon a hill, some distance away from the red line that leads into the city once known as Pittsburgh, 3 survivors have found a place to be able to make a very urgent radio call. Achira, Juniper, and Digger have learned the truth now that the Inder's Line and the caravan have moved from their previous location, a recently destroyed community known as Grey Ridge. Fearing that their position had been compromised and that the dead would continue to find them, they moved on, and they have left some cryptic directions. Digger, you understand what these directions mean, as you have worked with Tin 4 and his organization in the past.
Yeah.
He's left you information and clues that will lead you and the others, hopefully, to a safe house that will give you further information. Regardless, however, it does mean that your journey has just become much longer. You will have to double back. And more importantly, you will then have to travel east, further than you've ever been.
The yellow brick. We're gonna have to go back the way we came to get to it.
Achira, Juniper, in the distance, you hear the shuffling and moans of the dead. There are silhouettes some distance away, and Digger seems to be aware.
We want to get off this hill and not be standing out. My preference would be to not involve ourselves with them directly. It generally does more harm than good. But we do need to rest, and we are low on water. So,
So move quickly to not here. And then
yeah,
rest.
we should find a place relatively close that's safer than here. And if it's possible to not draw their attention, would be the best way.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I could leave the radio here and put it on. That'd attract them, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Do we?
But we wouldn't have it.
We wouldn't have it.
Let's just go.
Yeah, I don't have. Yeah, let's just try and move right now.
So we tried to move stealthily away.
Yeah.
Funny you should use the word stealth. I would like for all of you to make stealth rolls, knowing that these silhouettes are just off on the tree line near the rail. Thankfully, they're on the opposite side of the rail that you need to travel through to backtrack. So if you are successful here, you may very well avoid the dead that have gathered in this small clump of forest.
Great.
There are no degrees or dice of difficulty for either Digger or Achira. However, Juniper, because you did not give me a competency point, I'm going to have to ask that you roll an additional die of difficulty, a black die, along with your roll. Achira, if you wish to use your recon gear, you may.
Okay. Would you say, since we were safe, and now with these approaching Romeros, that the location... Okay.
You are in a location hazard.
Thank you.
However, I don't know that these rolls are going to help you along your way. Digger, you have gotten 3 degrees of success, and you are able to very quietly and expertly, like a knife, cut through this space quietly and disappear, moving in a way that your scent doesn't blow into this grove, preventing the dead from seeing, hearing, or smelling you. You disappear, very used to making these sorts of maneuvers on your own. However, in doing so, Digger, you have put no consideration into the other 2 that you're traveling with. Achira, you have 3 degrees of failure, and Juniper, you have 4 degrees of failure. How would you like to mitigate these failures?
I'm going to use 4 to make this a success. Oof. I know what this is because I'm holding on to that luggage. She doesn't. She travels light. I'll
It is
use
true.
4.
Is it possible for me to use any to help either of them?
You may spend your competency points at any point when you're traveling with a group. I will allow that, for instance. I would not allow you to aid Lampwick, but I would allow you to aid any that you are traveling with,
All right,
should you choose to
Does-
use them.
Us being in a formation, does that help in any way, shape, or form?
It certainly depends on the abilities that each of you have.
I will.
Is there nothing for basic formation?
Yeah.
Cool.
Because I know I put nothing into that.
It's unfortunate that Lampwick is not with you.
I will drop 2 to help Juniper.
Oh, okay. In that case, I'll use 3 to make it 1 success.
So, what you do, Digger, is you turn and you grab on to Juniper's shoulder as she is about to step into a pile of leaves and twigs.
Okay. Sorry. I'm not very quiet. Let's go.
Just try a little harder.
Let's try. This is I'm at a 10. This is me trying.
As you
Sure.
move with Digger, you notice that he stops at certain moments when the breeze picks up and stands perfectly still, and he directs you to do the same. And because of his direction and aid, Juniper, you are able to navigate this space without drawing the attention of the dead. The Romeros, off in the distance now, are more than just silhouettes. You see the bare, naked, gray, pasty forms of their flesh. Bald, covered in boils and sores, with flesh that has been tightened against their bones in horrible ways. They are a grotesque caricature of humanity now. Rotten, but not to the point where it continued. Their decay stopped. And while their lips had been pulled back into these horrible grimaces of gnashing teeth and empty, sunken eyes, there is just enough life remaining within them that they continue this imitation of humanity. And you see them and you smell them. But because of Digger and his expertise, they do not smell you. Achira, you have mitigated all of your failure as well. And you know it's this case. It's weighing you down. And in your mind, you continue to curse yourself. This is not how you travel. This is not how you operate. And you are once again paying the price for breaking your routine. You know, because you've seen it, this is how people die in the apocalypse. They break their routines.
Yeah. I think we're good
For now.
for now.
We need to find a place to rest and
Yeah.
use that stupid radio and get water. Can we do all 3 somewhere around here?
I'm sure we can find a place. Now, just try and continue to be quiet.
I will try harder.
I appreciate it. All right, let's find a camp, shall we?
How far are you willing to go?
I want to move in the other direction from those Romeros, but not too far. I want to try and get enough rest that we can make up for the fact that we didn't sleep last night.
Everyone can make an endurance check with 2 black die added to their roll. As you push past your levels of comfort, this is more than sleep deprivation. This is heavy exhaustion that's working its way across you, as none of you have slept in over 14 hours. Juniper, you have 1 degree of success. Digger, you have 1 degree of success.
Oh, Tira!
Achira, you have 5 degrees of failure. I have nothing to say to Digger or Juniper. You managed to push forward. Achira, would you like to do anything to mitigate this failure? Because it is catastrophic, and we will have to discuss what it means if you allow it to stand.
I can't allow that to stand. I will use 2 competency points to knock it down to 3 degrees of failure.
With
Achira
that,
will be ditching the radio.
it is the radio. It's the weight. And it has, over this journey, been the X factor that has brought you into this place that you are in now. You drop to your knees. You can't go on, and you know that you've pushed yourself to your limits. You have not hurt yourself or the radio, but you cannot continue. And you are nowhere. You are in the middle of this rail. You're not even at the yellow brick yet. You're still on the red line.
Well, it appears that this is where we rest.
It also appears that unless someone else wants to volunteer radio duty, that this is about as far as this giant brick is going.
We'll be fine without it.
I look at Juniper. I don't mean this to sound mean or rude, but are you particularly strong?
I can carry it, but I won't move as fast.
Yeah.
I can carry it, and if I don't want to, we'll just throw it on the grounds. I mean, we're gonna leave it here anyway, weren't we?
I mean, I can carry it. I was just curious.
Oh, like take turns.
Well, that, or if you were particularly extraordinarily strong and it wouldn't be a problem.
No, I'm like regular. I'm like a 3. I'm like a regular strength person.
That's fine. I just, yeah, I can.
We can make like a little, if we can. Never mind. Make a little cart. I was gonna say something stupid.
Let's sleep.
Yeah.
First.
And I would like to ask if I can use survival points to find water, or is that not something we do with survival points?
You absolutely can spend survival points if you choose to use it to try to scout for water. However, it does mean that you'll have to move away from camp. Is that what you're choosing to do?
Well, hold on. God damn it. Yes, I do this thing. I do it. Whatever. It's fine. I'll be fine.
Because you are now out of water.
Yeah.
I will allow you to make a survival check with 1 black die of difficulty added to it. I would also like for you to roll a blue speed die for me.
So I'm not using survival points. I'm gonna roll like normal.
You are rolling, and you are also spending survival points.
I see. Okay, to get the thing. All right, that's fair. Maybe. Let's see. Submit. Cool. See you guys later.
With 5 degrees of failure.
Why am I like this?
And a speed of 5.
Roll 20
I need you. You go in search of water. Digger, Achira is not able to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
What do you do while Juniper searches for water?
I'm listening and setting up kind of a rough perimeter and space where we can setting up a place where we can sleep, where we have a clear line of sight.
Are you hanging some of your handmade alarms and traps in the trees around you?
Yeah.
All right. I am going to say that you just take the time to do that, and you make a perimeter around you and Achira. Achira, you could try to stay awake if you wanted, or you could take this time while Digger is watching over you to sleep. It is up to you.
Would Achira have enough stamina to get to a higher ground. You know, we established pretty early on she prefers to sleep higher up.
I will allow you to climb a tree if you make a climb check with 2 black die of difficulty.
Ugh.
It
I
may
have
provide you
climbing gear.
additional safety. You can use your climbing gear.
Okay.
It may provide you with additional safety, but it may also cost you more than it's worth. It's up to you.
Hey, let's try it. I'm sorry, you said 2 degrees of difficulty?
2 black die of difficulty because of your state of exhaustion. I could be much, much more cruel.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right.
We're so bad at camping and everything.
That is 4 degrees of failure. The exhaustion is heavy. Do you have any competency left?
I have 1 point left. And something tells me a tree is a safe location. So, I'm gonna lean into it because obviously the dice want something right now. So
Digger, you watch as Achira begins to climb up a tree, leaving the case behind, and you hear the snapping of a branch. I will allow you to make a single roll to attempt to mitigate some of this failure.
Okay.
And if you have any competency left,
I do.
I will allow you to spin that either on the roll that you're about to make, so you can save your competency if you roll well enough, or you could use it directly to mitigate Achira's failures. So you can have a safe road and spend competency, or you can choose to make a roll and then perhaps mitigate it without having to spend the competency.
Okay. I'm gonna make the roll because I don't think I've had enough time to think about this. And I'm just gonna react and act in the situation. So I'll make a roll. What roll?
Lift pull, please.
Okay. Oh, not great. Let's see. Hey.
Would
Now,
you spend any competency points to
I
make that
will.
better?
How many points per degree?
1.
Okay, I will spend 2.
With that, Achira falls, and lightning quick, you dart across the grove and catch Achira as she falls from the tree. She would have broken her leg, if not her arm, in that fall. And neither of you are seriously wounded, but though both of you take a number of small scratches from the bark and the branches that have rained down with her.
Let's wait till tomorrow to climb any more trees.
I'm so sorry. I'm exhausted. I just wanted to be safe.
No, I understand, but I think the ground is going to be your friend right now.
You're absolutely right.
Just gently, and I'll just put her down.
And like Achira's like,
and it takes very little time for you to quickly find sleep. And Digger is watching over you.
Oh.
And what do you do, Digger, as she drifts off?
Is she remotely in the area that I was kind of making?
Yes.
Well, I guess you're staying there. I'd leave her. I don't know what to do.
You go and you kind of start pacing the perimeter, set things up, and you eventually make another space for you. Do you sleep as well, or do you keep watch?
I want to try and keep watch until Juniper comes back.
I just need an endurance check from you.
Okay,
And do you have any competency remaining?
I do.
So I will allow you to spend a single competency point to avoid this roll entirely if you wish.
I will spend the point.
Very well. You stay awake, waiting for June. Juniper, make a composure check for me, please.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, come on. 1 degree of success.
1 degree of success is very good.
It's amazing for this.
25 survival points is what it will take for you to find enough water for you and your 3 companions for the rest of this journey. It takes you, however, 3 hours as you search through the area, and you are even more exhausted than you were. But what are you carrying that you're going to put this water into? There's a small stream that you've located at least 2 miles away from your camp.
I would have collected people's empty canteens
Canteens, yeah.
from before, and then there's probably several small of those, like those plastic bags that hold water with the little plasticky pour spout on the end that we were using earlier as well. So I fill those.
Okay. And now you have a lot of heavy water.
Mm-hmm.
And so you start making your way back the 2 miles to your camp,
Mm-hmm.
laden with all of this, having marched for 17 hours. Your eyes blink, and the world around you is blurry. It's past noon. It must be 3 or 4 in the afternoon, but there's a heavy mist here in the forest by this stream as you start moving past all of that. The air and the sky is gray, as if it might burst open and begin to rain, which would be a disgusting irony at this point, given that what you've gone to get this water. But as you push forward, I need you to make an endurance check with 3 black dice attached to it.
Okie dokie then. That's roll 20 is not gonna. Whoa! Only 1 degree of failure, and I'm like looking at the time. I'm gonna keep my competency points. I'll take that 1 degree of failure.
You are going to take the single degree of failure.
Yeah.
You find it hard to continue forward. Every step becomes a chore. Your eyes, you blink, and then they appear again, open. Make a composure check with 3 black dice of difficulty as well.
2 degrees of success. What is happening?
Despite everything in your being that is screaming for you to stop, Juniper, you move forward. You continue to fight back to your camp. And eventually, you find yourself, and you're not even sure how you got here, but you find yourself standing on the outskirts of the area where both Achira and Digger had been seen last. There is a series of old leather straps that have small little handmade bells that have been strung out to them, and you don't trigger them. You stop and you're just staring at them. And it's as if you had blinked, and then all of a sudden you opened your eyes and you were here now. All of the water is with you and you have succeeded. You see Digger staring at you.
I was super quiet. I was like a 20. Like if I was at a 10 before, then I'm killing it. Here's your water. Good night. And I just kind of, like, I had all the containers sort of attached to like my bag. I sort of sling it onto the ground. I just fall over and I go to sleep.
Well,
And you, by all means, Digger, please.
all right. Is she still on the outside of the bells?
Yes.
She just passes out. I guess I'm carrying you across. And I walk over and pick her up and move her inside the perimeter
I mean, you could just kick some leaves over me too. That's up to you.
and set her down near Achira.
You place her on the small bedding of leaves that you'd made for yourself that Achira went to bed on, and then you place Juniper near her, and you bring the water into the perimeter of your safe camp. And you reattach all of the bells and check your perimeter. You feel fairly confident about it. From your assumptions of the position of the very muted sun in the sky beyond the trees, you can tell that you can sleep for perhaps 6 hours before it becomes dark.
All right. Let's just get through this. And I take a spot to lay down. I put my shovel next to me. And I just lean back and try and sleep.
Your eyes close and you very easily drift off to sleep. There in that forest, so far away from everything that you have known, your home, Digger, the security that you had built, your solidarity and your solitude, you feel exposed and uncomfortable, but you're too tired at this point. You've pressed yourself further than this in the past, but you know when you are on the verge of collapse, and you are there now. You close your eyes and, without further thought, drift off into sleep. The RV pulls to a stop. Lampwick. This entire time, Sanderson has been smiling at you with this shotgun pointed at you. Not cocked, but still slung low in this chair as he has it spinned around in the passenger side. The blood and gore from Woodchuck's head drips off of the top of the shattered window to the RV. The body lies there on the floor between the two of you. His face, a cavernous hole. A blur of red, pulpy flesh and shattered teeth. The children are crying, and Arya is hugging onto them tightly as the three of them have pushed themselves back as far as they can in the seating of this RV. Polly is humming to herself, driving this RV off of a very rough patch of road. The concrete here is completely shattered, and whoever cleared this space, you suspect it must have been the caravan, had built in a number of side streets that were meant for repairs, as these old vehicles often needed to be serviced on the road. There aren't many functional cars or trucks remaining these days. All of them run by very, very valuable biodiesel that is handmade and prepared. To be riding in one of these RVs means that this vehicle is of a great importance to someone. So whether or not anyone in the Ender's line particularly cares about you or any of the other passengers, they will care about this vehicle. And as your mind races across the scenario, you know that sooner or later someone is going to come looking for you. The question is, will it be too late?
Let's hope not. Right now, I'm listening. If Sanderson has something that he wants to share with me, I'm gonna let him speak. If that's the case.
About an hour passes and he just kind of smiles at you, and then a little ways down as you start to pull off the road, he looks at you again. How long were you holding on to those 2 7s?
I had them since the beginning.
That was smart. That was smart. I didn't think you had them. I thought that they were further down. I didn't think we were going to see them, but then the river turned, and damn if I didn't have egg on my face. You're a damn fine poker player, boy.
Well, thank you. So, in case you ever needed a sidekick for, whatever hustle you might have. I mean that jokingly, of course, is like nobody left the hustle. But hey, it's been a long time since I've had a good match. You're really good, and I actually enjoyed the company. Not many people want to play.
There are plenty of people left to hustle. You've proven that.
Hey, all in good fun. But tag team hustles are even better. So what's going on, Sanderson? Like, you're gonna clue me in on a little bit. I didn't know this guy that well, so I'm assuming you had reason, and you don't have to tell me.
You're right. I don't have to tell you.
But these kids, they're your people, and we're all working together right now, and they're scared shitless right now. We got to do something.
I understand. Kit and Crash will get over it. They've seen worse. Polly, this is it. Pull over. The RV stops, and when the engine dies and quiets with a shudder, the entire RV shakes.
Is that a weird thing, or is that a normal thing?
How familiar is Lampwick with vehicles?
Not. Yeah, I probably had to at some point handle some repairs on my own, but definitely not an RV, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm not going to make you roll for it. I'm just going to say that no, it doesn't feel normal, but it doesn't also feel like the entire thing is going to break down, or that was the reason that they pulled over. You do believe that the RV was fully functional, that the fact that he ripped the radio out of the dashboard very clearly states that they don't intend on calling the Enders line back.
Right. Yep, I clocked that. So, Sanderson, what do you? What's going on, man? Look, I'm here. I'm almost completely functional, and I could be of help.
The kids are our people. You were right about that. So, soldier, I need you to step off this vehicle. And do so slowly and not make a fuss about it, because I don't want to drag you out of here, kicking and screaming. So we could save the children that, if that's what your concern is.
No,
he cocks the shotgun.
Look, man, I hear you. Is there any reason why you gotta dump me off over here? Can't you just at least leave me on the main road?
We're not getting rid of you. Now get off the RV.
Okay. Whatever you say.
You too, sweetheart. And he points back to Arya. Look, man, I don't know what to say or what I did. It's unfortunate the company you keep is really what it comes down to, but I need both of you to get off of this thing now.
Right. I'm going to start to slowly step away. But Sanderson, please just clue me in, man. Like, let me know what's going on, please.
Polly yells back, Kit, Crash, get off of her. Go back into the other room. The two redheaded 7-year-olds reluctantly let go of Arya and, kind of sad, walk back into the bedroom where you were sleeping and sit on the bed, their head hung low.
I'm going to slowly kind of just grab some of my stuff. Like, I'm going to...
Nope. That's enough. I said get off the RV, not get your things.
I'm gonna need some stuff depending on what you're gonna have us do. Like, you can't leave. You can't. It's dangerous out there, Sanderson.
No shit, Sherlock. Get off the RV.
All right. I'm gonna start to walk off the RV.
Arya grabs onto you. You think that she's trying to help you, but she's also, you realize, using you as a bit of a shield. and hiding behind you.
All right, it's okay. We're gonna be fine. Let's just listen to them. They're not gonna hurt us. Just do as they tell us to do.
I
And
don't fucking know what you did to them, but
I didn't do anything.
this has been a tinderbox the entire time. I did my best. I would typically be much better at dealing with. I need both of you to shut the fuck up and get off this RV.
All right. I'm gonna start to exit the RV, and I want to. Is he walking with us? Is he?
He's behind you.
He's behind us. Okay, so he is also leaving as well, is what I'm asking.
As you step off, you hear him on the runway stepping down all the way to ground level, stepping off the RV with each of you. And
Okay.
without looking, you just feel the presence of that shotgun on your back.
Got it. Okay. Okay, boss, we're down here. I'm gonna start to kind of turn a little.
Up
What
against
now?
those trees now.
Up against the trees. Okay.
So he motions you a little ways away from the RV, about
Alright.
100 feet. Has you both turn around, and as you start to turn around, he'll stop you, push you forward. But eventually, you turn, and he's standing there, and Polly's standing behind him, and she's got a small revolver that she's holding up as well.
Okay.
And both of them have guns on you.
Got it. All right, we're here. Can you tell us what's going on now, please?
The doctor, Maria.
Yeah.
I want to hear it all. He rubs his hand against his grayed hair. It's cut very short. His face is grizzled and scarred. You see his shirt has been rolled up, and there's old military tattoos that have been faded over time. Polly is older as well, but she carries it very well. Her hair is braided back, but she's got a very cold, calculated stare. These two individuals look to you. Polly says, "She's dead."
She is indeed a great loss for all of us.
Yeah, cut the shit. We want to
Uh,
hear everything.
I will tell you everything, but you're not going to like some of what I have to say.
I assume we ain't gonna like some of what you have to say.
Okay.
But you better believe right now, Slick, what you say is gonna be the difference between you walking out of here, riding with us, or ending up underground. Am I clear?
You're totally clear. And I wish the doctor were here so that she can speak on my behalf. I wish the doctor were here so that she can see what you're doing, because do you think that she would approve of what you're doing right now? She saved my life. She saved my life. And she told me that she was going out of her way to save my life for a reason, because she wanted us together. She was the glue that kept Grey Ridge together. She wanted us all to come together and work together, and she persisted in that effort when we were all stranded under the mine trying to survive. Because what she wanted was for us all to survive and get back together, because she knew that our chances of survival depended on each other. And I understand your loss. I understand it. I too have lost greatly. But I'm telling you, what you're experiencing right now is misplaced. And I feel for you. But this isn't what she wanted for us. She went out of her way to make sure that we survived. And I told her I owe you. And I will do everything in my power to make sure that your people, and especially those kids that are back there, everything in my power to make sure that what you did for me wasn't in vain. Is there another way for us to honor her and what she's done for all of us together?
I want you to make a calm others roll. I'm going to give you no black dice of difficulty because of the amount of role playing that you just did. This is a straight roll. How many competency points do you have remaining?
I have 2.
All right, let's see how you do.
Okay. Wait, I'm gonna double check that I got. Okay, good. I didn't want any of those difficulty dice sneaking in there. I'm using those 2 competency points,
That is 1 degree of failure
which turns
into 1 degree of success.
which turns into 4 degrees of success.
Because you, Lampwick, are very slick. He had that right. He takes a deep breath. And he wipes tears out of his eyes. Not because of what you said, but because of the love that he clearly feels for the doctor, for Maria, the way that he said her name. Everything in your mind immediately begins to churn and turn together in perfect unison as you realize that his tell has been shown. He's doing this out of grief. His love for the doctor has brought him to this point, and you're not even certain if he knows where this is going to lead. But he has to do something. This miraculous success is going to give you the ability to turn this situation. Polly is listening, but her eyes are just as sharp, just as cruel.
I'm gonna lower my hands just a tiny bit, and I'm not taking a step forward, but I'm kind of opening up. I'm gonna give Sanderson a couple moments, and I'm gonna say, I know exactly how you feel, man. I have lost so much, just like you. Let's just play a hand of cards, man. Let's just go back in there and let's have a drink and let's play a hand of cards.
Son of a bitch, I am not upset because I loved that woman, and I did love that woman. She held our community together. But more than that, she was the hope for all of us. Do you know how many communities racked with that damn flu that's moving through are going to die now because you and the rest of those rag and bone?
Look, man, it wasn't our fault.
Like
You
a
saw
plague of fucking locusts you are.
No, man. You saw those Romeros too, didn't you? The ones that run? The ones that talk? No one was prepared.
I seen him, Polly says as she looks at you. Something wasn't right. And we got to ask ourselves, too, what exactly happened back there? We don't know. Sanderson's getting real emotional, and you don't want that. So let me ask real straight. You want to get out of this? You want to be clear about it? We've already shed blood. We've laid our cards on the fucking table.
I see. And I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to hide.
So start talking about what happened to the doctor.
Then you're going to have to take us to the rest of my crew. Because like how you saw me in and out, that's been the story of my life for the last couple weeks. I got wounded, she patched me up, and then she gave me those pills. And she taught me how to identify the ones that were poison and the ones that weren't. I mean, she told me, and she separated the good ones. So I don't know what happened to her exactly because I was unconscious. But I know the people that do know, and they're waiting for us.
What about her? gun kind of motions towards Arya, who is trembling. I wasn't conscious either. Look, man.
So you can Arya, tell them what you were going through. They gotta know. They gotta know.
Fuck, man. I don't want to talk about this right now. As if.
Look, there's no shame in it, okay? Like, she was out of it too, you know? Like, a lot of us, and I'm sorry, Arya, but they need to know. This I do know, because they told me so that we can help Arya while we were waiting.
I have a fucking problem, all right? Fuck, is that what you want to hear?
Well, I mean,
I was taking what I could. That's why we went into the tunnels. We were looking for painkillers or whatever was available. And so I
went overboard, and then she kind of was out of it and lost consciousness.
Yeah.
And then was in withdrawal, and then broke it beautifully. And is standing on her own 2 feet.
Yeah, I guess I'm fucking A.
Fucking A.
She kind of like exhales, and she's still shaking, but she seems to be, from your confidence and your handle on the situation, she also seems to be calming down. Candy Max, she smiles and looks out at the rest of them, referring to her 1990s starring role in that forgotten piece of history that is only remembered by a handful now, and the few who own a VHS copy of it. Did she suffer?
Look, I want to say no. But the truth is, I don't know. Actually, the truth is that she had been suffering, not from that. She had been suffering in her own way for other reasons. She was burdened with what she perceived as her failures. And look, one of the things that I'm noticing that's similar is the burden that you guys all at Grey Ridge were carrying. And it was unfair, because on your shoulders was put too much, and I weighed on her, and she blamed herself for everything that went down, and we talked her up because I knew how important she was to everybody.
Why she's dead and you're fucking here?
I don't know. I wasn't awake to see it happen, but I think the Citadel must have had something to do with it. I know that they had beef with her.
They dropped that dynamite. They blew you in. Why? We heard a lot of chatter about what the Citadel was doing. And that Rowan chick, she got real loud. And she had lots of things to say about you and your group. How do you think anyone found out about your friends and about how dangerous they are?
Well, let's talk about the Citadel, because I think that really is the target here. Why would they do what they did? I think because they clearly want to turn us against each other. They specifically left us with just enough supplies so that the communities are lacking. For what reason? The only reason why I can think they did that is to make what's happening right now happen. That's the complete opposite of what the doctor was trying to achieve. She was trying to achieve unity. She was trying to heal the people, cure this disease. And they come, and this wouldn't be a problem if the Citadel didn't take more than was their fair share. They set us up. They set us up to do exactly what we're doing right now. We're playing into their hand. You're a better poker player than that, man.
I will tell you, Lampwick, you have moved them away from murdering you. Currently, you stand somewhere in a purgatory as far as they are concerned. Again, you have made a very convincing argument within game, and I'm going to have you make a persuade check without any dice of difficulty added to it. However, I have to warn you, if that pendulum swings back the other way, they may not be patient any longer.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Is there any way this could be a coax?
Yes,
Okay.
you are coaxing them into a sense of stability and safety with you. You are trying to convince them that the Citadel are the enemy. I do have that right.
Whew.
3 degrees of success.
Turns into 5. I mean 6 if that would be allowed, but
With 5 degrees of success, you have succeeded. Sanderson lowers the shotgun. Those sons of bitches. She died. They tried to bury the evidence just so they could take everything, and I wouldn't be so surprised if you weren't put in that situation based on whatever Rowan was doing. Tell me more.
I will. Over a hand of poker.
Let's level here, since we're putting cards on tables.
Right.
Polly and I ain't going back to the Ender's Line. We're traveling on our own.
Okay, I think
When we killed Woodchuck, that was our resignation letter. We have no choice. But let me tell you what. Grey Ridge is going to be built again. And the memory of the doctor is not going to be forgotten. Maria will be honored. Do you understand, soldier?
I do. I understand 100%, and I would expect no less. I think you should reconsider going on your own, man. I think that we could help each other. And I think that there's a way. Look, I have your back. There is a way that we can come up with something. I don't know, man, but I look, it sucks what happened. I understand I understand the state that you were in, but I don't want to see you guys. I just don't want to hear that you guys died. You know, I'm trying to follow the doctor. I'm trying to keep people together.
You've done
want you
a
to do
lot
that.
of talking, Lamprey. And let me be clear about this.
Yeah.
You made a real good case. But if you're trying to convince us to not break away on our own,
I am doing exactly that. I'm
you
trying to.
You don't have a snowball's chance in hell of
Okay.
convincing us that after killing one of theirs, that we're ever going to be working with the Ender's Line again. 10-4 is a fine fellow when you really look at it from all angles, but I got to be honest with you, you really don't expect us to believe that us off in one of his is going to sit well.
No.
So
I mean-
know we're stealing this RV and going off on our own. I am taking those children into my care, and Polly and I are going to raise them as Grey Ridge. That's the end of
Got
that
it.
conversation.
All
now,
right.
you and Sweetheart here might have a place there. I don't know that I trust you, but at this moment, I don't feel like you deserve my wrath.
How about this? You leave with the RV. They don't need to know what's happened. They don't need to know what's happened to him yet. I'm not going to tell them I know. I don't want to make them your enemies if that can be avoided.
That's
If there's
fair
just no
enough.
sense, there's no reason for that.
We'll leave you with supplies. We'll make sure you're set up. You and Arya walk away. We take the RV. Done.
All right. where are you guys heading? Because if I need to find this new Grey Ridge, I might be coming knocking.
I can't give that to you without you making another persuasion check. So, how many resources do you have remaining?
I don't have any competency. Oh, did I? I think yes. I didn't take off the 2. I'm 0 competency. I have survival points. But let's see what this does. At least they're not mad. 4 successes.
Damn it if I don't like this kid. Fine poker player. Be ashamed to lose an opponent like that in this end of days that we find ourselves in. Polly looks at him. She's lowered her gun too. You've charmed her as well. Yeah, I guess it's not going to hurt anything, but I'm telling you, Lampwick, you've turned this thing around. We were harsh, and I'm sorry for that, but I'm going to be real crystal clear. We'll tell you where we're going to hold up for the next couple of months, but if you so much as breathe a word of it to anyone else, you're going to be back to where you started this conversation.
Look, I have no intention on sharing this with anybody except, and I will tell you, if I need to go there with my crew and I need to tell them where it is because our ability to get there requires it, I will keep it amongst us, and you can trust them.
There's only one way that works for me. You don't ever bring that crazy little... He bites his words. Polly presses her hand against him on his chest, pushing him away. Juniper cannot come.
Copy that. That's I'm not going to push you on that. This has been...
Whether it was her fault or whether she was manipulated by the Citadel, I don't care. She did it, right? She was the one?
She wasn't the one. She wasn't the one.
Was it Rowan?
I didn't see, but I know it wasn't Juniper, and I know that Rowan set us up.
So this whole thing has been one big scam by the Citadel to take half of those meds, to leave all the rest of the communities with no hope whatsoever of being able to come out of this winter season?
That's what it looks like, right? Why would they take so much and knowingly leave us all with so little?
Well, then you need to know you need to get your crew, bring them to us real fast, because we're going to be finding ways to take this fight right up to the Citadel's door. I don't give a flying fuck if they do have a tank. I'll shove it up their fucking ass.
Well, I wish you luck, and I just want you to be safe. And I want you to do what you said you were going to do earlier, which was to honor the doctor's name.
There's
and
a
keep up our good
warehouse.
work.
There's a warehouse. We used it. It was a place where we stored some of the goods that we had that the doctor used. Some of the base components that she would use to make medicine with. We didn't tell anyone else about it. We're going to be traveling there. There's valuable material. And if we could find somebody else who could use it, we might have hope.
Okay. We might need that to help to pick up where the doctor left off.
It's about 5 miles outside of Bakersfield. You're going to look for a truck stop on the northwest side of town. There, painted on the sign, you're going to see a big yellow smiley face. It wasn't part of it in the time before, but somebody painted this grotesque 2-story yellow smiley face as if it was mocking all of us for still being here. That there's a warehouse on the backside of that truck stop. That's the place.
Got it.
Sorry it had to come to this.
Hey, it could have gone worse. But one thing I'm learning right now is that you can change. It doesn't have to be the way it's been. I look forward to seeing you guys again, and I will.
If you come back, we'll see you're well taken care of if you bring us either the heads of some of the Citadel members or information on how we might be able to take some ourselves. That's valuable. And
Got
you
it.
may think that Grey Ridge isn't anything anymore, but let me tell you what. We had our secrets too. You saw those mine shafts. You saw what we could do. We were small, but we worked hard.
Yeah.
And there may only be a handful of us now. Grey Ridge will have its revenge.
You got it. Just make sure that you remember that the real enemy are those Romeros that are walking around and running around and thinking and talking. They're the ones that want us all dead. Everybody else has to learn how to come back together in spite of every bullshit thing that we put each other through. I'm going to stop preaching. It gets tiresome. I used to hate it when people talk to me like this, and I'm turning it to something I used to make fun of.
You mean well enough. You've shown us your heart, boy, and we appreciate it. Look, we'll give you 20 minutes. You and Arya get what you need out of the RV, and then we're going to pull up stakes. Make it
Got it.
quick, and make sure not to leave anything behind, because we're sure as shit not going to find you if you leave anything.
Will do. 20 minutes, thank you. It's
All
plenty of
right.
time.
Polly and I are going to take care of our garbage. And he motions over to the body that's now lying in the RV.
And I say to him, and then I include Arya in this. We don't know. We don't know what happened to him. Woodchuck took off with you guys as far as we know.
All right. We appreciate that. That's going to go a long way to building trust in the future.
You got it.
And they do start pulling the body off before you do anything else. Sanderson grabs a shovel out of the back of the RV and one of the hatches on the bottom and starts digging a shallow grave. And you start gathering your things. Is there anything else that you want to do, Lampwick?
I'm just going to get my stuff. I'm going to reassure the kids.
They're crying, but they're still sitting there. You think that they've been through a lot, and you can tell no children in this world are free from the abuse of the world itself. But Grey Ridge was clearly tough. It wasn't just some bastion of medical development in the world that fell. There were elements of it from what you've heard about the people being held captive below in the basement. There were elements of this that were different. And they do look at you. But when you calm them, Lampwick, Crash looks to you. Will you do right by us and tell Juniper that we like her very much and we hope that we see her again?
I will. And you guys know, and I lean in, and I'm going to tell them, and you guys know that everything that happened down there, you know that wasn't Juniper. You know that, right?
Are you talking about Olive?
Yes,
We know Olive. She's trying to protect us too.
she is.
She's always harsh, but we know she means well. She can just be... She tied us up. She wouldn't let us talk, but she said it was to keep us safe.
Yeah, Olive is different. She operates very differently than Juniper. But you know, Juniper and Olive were keeping you safe, and I need you to keep Juniper safe too.
What do you mean?
It was Olive that did all of the bad stuff down there. even if she was trying to protect you and trying to protect us, you know that anything that happened that was bad, that wasn't Juniper, that was Olive.
So
You
we
can't let
shouldn't.
them know. They need to know. They're not going to be able to tell the difference. No one knows Juniper and Olive like you guys do and like we do.
So we have to keep a secret.
You just have to tell the truth. And the truth is that it wasn't Juniper. That's no
wasn't.
secret.
It wasn't Juniper.
It wasn't Juniper.
Okay, we can do that.
You guys, we'll see you again. Be brave, be strong. You guys got this.
You gather your things. You and Arya are left on the side of the road as the RV rumbles away the opposite direction from which it came. Arya falls to the ground and begins crying. I don't know what the fuck you did, but thank you.
I'm just trying to survive, and I'm trying to make sure that more of us survive as well.
We lost the kids.
For now, yeah. I don't know if they're in better hands than they were when they were with us, but I think they'll try their best to take care of them.
You wake from your sleep, which was deep, with a start. Digger, your eyes are open. Achira and Juniper are still deep, deep within their slumber. It is now nighttime. You're not sure how far into the night you are, but the sound of crickets ring out around you, and there's a heavy silence.
Can I look at the sky and try and figure out approximately what time it is?
There's a faint light. The sky is still overcast. Make a survival check for me, please. No dice of difficulty. You have removed any sort of exhaustion or fatigue that you had been carrying with you from the previous travels, but it is still very dark. Do you wish to do anything about that? Or would you like to talk about how this goes wrong?
No, I'm not going to do anything about that. Let's see where it goes.
Digger, you keep looking back at the two sleeping figures next to you there on the ground. They both seem peaceful, and you're watching their breathing, but there's the sense of anxiety and fear that rises inside of you. You can hear them, and you hear the silence around you. It's strange, Digger. It's been so long since you've been near other human beings for any extended period of time. The handoffs that you've done with the Ender's Line have always been very cursory and quick. A box of something left behind, a tank of gasoline for the generator, some salvage that you found, quick nods, sometimes without any words whatsoever. And as you look down at them, you realize that you've missed people. And it's a strange feeling because you never thought about it before. You didn't care. Your isolation was comforting. But now you realize that you had simply forgotten what it was like to speak to someone else instead of yourself, to walk alongside someone. When you caught Achira without thinking about it, you realize that that was not what you would normally do. You don't think about other people, certainly not before yourself. You are everything that comes before. You are all that there is. And somewhere in the back of your mind, Digger, voice of your father continues to haunt you. You assumed that no one would want to be around you, that everything that he always would say about you was correct, that you were worthless, weak. You weren't worth anyone's time. Being alone, that's where you belong. And as you're staring there, you realize that you had lost your focus. You weren't paying attention. It happened quickly. Whatever it is standing right behind you. It's not a Romero. It doesn't move like the dead. You feel it in the grove. A shadow. There's no breathing. Just the weight of its presence directly behind you, Digger. Your shovel is leaning up against the tree, 10 feet away. Your two companions are sleeping in front of you. You're uncertain as to whether or not your opponent is aware that you are aware. But you know you do not have much time. What do you do?
In relation to where I am on the ground, where is my shovel? Where am I, and where is it?
You are standing in the center of the grove. In front of you, 5 or 6 feet away, sleeping peacefully, Achira and Juniper are unconscious. Behind you is the tree that you had slept at, 10 feet away from where you stand. Up against that tree is your shovel. Behind you, perhaps 5 feet, something has bypassed your alarms and is standing heavy in the space behind you. You can't see it. Maybe it's some small play of the moonlight overhead, but you get a sense of presence, perhaps finally honed from your time being so desperately alone.
Okay. So I'm going to not look back, and I'm going to slowly, casually as I can, walk towards the others, and just kneel down next to them like I'm just casually checking on them, making sure they're okay. Trying to play it like I don't know it's there.
How many competency points do you have remaining?
5.
That's very good. The first thing that I would like for you to do is to make a persuasion check.
Okay.
As you move forward with a natural grace that prevents anything that might be watching you from thinking that you're aware of its presence.
All right. What is
5 degrees of failure.
Do you have all your difficulty dice turned off?
Oh no, I don't. I'm sorry. I had 2 difficulty dice turned on still.
I will allow you to re-roll.
Yes!
Okay.
Technicality!
Are you also setting your modifier at 2?
You should already have the modifier added due to the...
yeah, I think it's already in there.
So what I would like for you to do, Ward, and I will only give you this one opportunity to ever do this, is reset your dice and roll one more time.
Okay, reset it, yeah. Then I'll roll persuasion again.
Please. Let's see how Digger does for real. That is 2 degrees of failure.
All right. I'd have to spend 3 to make it a degree of success. I'll spend the 3.
You have succeeded. You carefully step forward and lean down as if you are simply checking on your two companions. The figure behind you, still looming above you, doesn't move.
So now I've got about a 10-foot distance between me and it, and I'm next to them. I want to lean down over Achira. No, sorry. I want to lean down over Juniper. And I lean down and I put my hand on her shoulder, hoping this will wake her. And I just whisper, "Someone's here to hurt us."
Juniper, I need you to make a composure roll as these words work into your subconscious while you sleep, waking you. The only question that I have, does Juniper wake or does Olive?
I'll hope it's Juniper, but I guess we're gonna find out in like a second.
I was hoping it was Olive.
Well, I got 3 successes, which is insane.
You wake Juniper.
Okay.
Juniper, you are facing whatever is standing behind Gravedigger. And as you very carefully open your eyes, as Digger whispers to you, you do not react in any rough way. Your composure roll was sufficient. You are still lying immobile on the ground as you were. Your eyes flicker open, and through the slit of them, you see over Digger's shoulder as he is leaned down to you. And you see an enormous figure, large, unnaturally muscled, wearing tattered rags and a burlap sack over their head, holding in one enormous, meaty fist is a jagged, rusted blade that looks like a part of an old farm plow wrapped on a long wooden handle. You see this figure. It doesn't move. It is looming over Digger, standing there, waiting. What do you do?
Oh my lord. I think I would wake Achira up also. Just to start this chain going. But while waking her, I'm gonna try to like slowly get up also so I can get to my feet faster.
I'm gonna stand up like I'm done checking her and just like lean on the tree there against still facing the other way, and lean like I'm looking out and keeping watch, but the other direction.
If both of you are attempting to do this in a way that doesn't rouse suspicion from this intruder, then I would have you both make persuasion checks. So it is persuade.
Okay.
And as you have succeeded in your your composure up to this point, there will be no dice of difficulty added to it. So it is a straight roll for you. However, I do need a blue die from each of you,
Okay.
if you can
Okay.
roll it.
I'll just roll a separate one.
Yeah, otherwise I can roll one for you.
I rolled a 5 on a 6-sided die.
Very well, 5. Digger, that is 5 degrees of failure.
What is wrong with me all of a sudden?
Oh, Lampwick took up all.
It took them all up.
Took up all of them.
Okay, I'll spend 2 competency to knock it down to at least 3 degrees.
So it's not a catastrophic failure. That is good. And how many competency do you have now remaining, Digger? 0.
Oh.
But you do fail nonetheless. And so we'll first go with Juniper, as you're going to act first. You attempt to wake Chira. How do you do that?
I do that thing where I cover her mouth so she doesn't yell when she wakes up, and then I just kind of like tap her in the temple to wake her up.
Chira, I need you to make a composure check, please. Go ahead, Juniper. What were you going to say?
And then I would just whisper the same thing that Digger said to me. Just that, or no, actually I would say something different because I saw something different. Giant Romero, gotta go.
That is 2 degrees of failure, Achira. How many competency do you have remaining?
I have 1 remaining, which I will. Yeah, sure. Let's make it 1 degree of failure. Since we were asleep.
This is not a location hazard. The location is not the hazard.
It is not.
The enormous beast of a humanoid monstrosity that stands behind you with a rusted, jagged blade is the hazard. And as such, you awake to Juniper's words, and the first thing that washes across your mind are the images of what you saw at Grey Ridge. How you shot something very similar directly in the forehead. A perfect shot, and it dropped, and then later it returned. This thing, though you're not certain if it is the same thing that you faced before, is certainly similar. And it stands there, motionless, just feet away from Digger. As Digger stands, and you and Juniper watch, Digger move carefully. However, Digger, your life, everything that you have learned since everything ended, has made you more comfortable with the dead than the living. You know them. You understand them. It's why you're good at what you do. But as you stand, out of the corner of your eye, you see it. And you realize there's so much in this world that you don't know. And it lunges forward, grabbing you. And that is where we're going to end our session tonight.
No.
Thank you to all who have joined us. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Or not.